Gopijana Balara Girivara Rani Yasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Soda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vana Chari Yamuna Tira Vana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Ballava Girivardhani Gopijana Ballava Girivardhani Yasoda Nandana Brajana Soda Nandana Brajana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Gana Timirandasya Garanjana Salakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupagada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jaganpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Banchakapachu Vischa Kripa Sindhu Bibacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayamudidayed Nasta Presho Badreshu Nityam Bhagavat Shevaya Bhagavad Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistaki. Today, February 15th, 2024. It was a cold 39 degrees earlier this morning. And it is the most auspicious appearance day of Sri Advaita Acharya. And there are many things, many points to be understood about Advaita Acharya, especially coming from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and also from the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. So today we're going to present some things based on a composition by His Holiness Gaura Govinda Swami, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who had one small booklet called Sri Advaita Acharya's Roaring Call, which I found this on Dandavats today, and I had not read it before. And it is a lot of wonderful things in here. Govinda Maharaj, who's no longer with us, he knew many things about Vaishnavism that many devotees, especially those from the West, don't know because of his history and background as a Vaishnava. He was from Odisha, and then he founded the ISKCON temple in Bhubaneswar in 1977 or so. So he quotes from Chaitanya Charitamrita from the Adi Lila, chapter 1, verses 12 and 13. Mahavishnu Jagat Karta Mayaya Srijat Jidha Vasyavatara Evavyam Advaitacharya Ishwaraha. Lord Advaitacharya is the incarnation of Mahavishnu, whose main function is to create the cosmic world through the actions of Maya. That's Mahavishnu's main function. Advaitam Harinadvaitad Acharyam Bhakti Sangsanat Bhaktyavataram Isham Tam Advaitam Charyam Ashraye. Because he is non-different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. Advaita means non-dual. Dvaita means dual. Advaita means non-dual. And because he propagates the cults of devotion, he is called Acharya. He is the Lord and the incarnation of the Lord's devotee. Therefore, I take shelter of him. And then he gives a quote from the Gaura Ganesha Deepika, verse 11. Deepika means lamp. And the Gaura Ganadesha Deepika is a shastra which explains who all the various associates of Lord Chaitanya were in Krishna Lila. So it's a very fascinating work and is quoted extensively in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So such and such a devotee, like Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram, for example. But there are many, many associates of the Lord who were the associates of Lord also in his Vrindavan Lila. And they came again to support and associate with the Lord, participate in his pastimes in his Gauranga Lila. So Krishna just doesn't appear out of thin air by himself, but he comes with his his different associates to perform his pastimes. So Maharaj says that this means Advaita Acharya is Bhakta Avatar. Then he quotes from the Adi Lila chapter 7 verse 6, which is a verse that we chant during the like Pushpanjalis, when we chant all the Mangalacharna verses. This is one of those verses. Panchatattva makam Krishnam bhakta rupa swarupakam bhaktavataram bhakyakyam namami bhakta shaktikam. You familiar with this verse? You've heard it many times. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is non-different from his feature as a devotee. And this is an explanation of the members of the Panchatattva. Devotional incarnation, devotional manifestation, pure devotee, and devotional energy. So, Maharaj explains the Panchatattva. The Panchatattva is Bhakta Rupa, Bhakta Swarupa, Bhakti Avatar, Bhaktyakya, and Bhakti Shakti. Bhakta Rupa is Mahaprabhu in the form of a devotee. So Bhakta Rupa means the form of a devotee. So he's Krishna himself, but he comes as if he were a devotee of Krishna. So whenever someone would address Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as God or Vishnu or Narayan, he would put his hands over his ears and say, Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu. I am not Vishnu. But then sometimes in his confidential pastimes with his confidential devotees, he would declare himself to be God and reveal himself, sometimes jokingly, But his devotees, even though he came as Chana avatar or covered incarnation, he could not hide himself from his devotees. The devotees knew that this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's Krishna himself. So he's Bhakta Rupa. And Bhakta Swarup means Lord Nityananda. Bhakta Avatar is Advaita Acharya. Bhaktyakya is Srivas. And Bhakti Shakti is Gadadhar. Gadadhar is Radha. The word is contained in there. So this is Panchatattva. So the Gaur Ganesh Dipika states, Bhakti Avatar Acharya Dvaito Ya Sri Sadashiva. So he is Bhakta Avatar, and he's also Sadashiva. So generally we say that Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of Mahavishnu. But he's also, mystically, the combined incarnation of Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. So he is Sadashiva Mahavishnu Avatar. You chew on that for a while. Put that in your rear part of your brain where your computational mechanisms are going on, and think about that. So, and he said, Maharaj says, when we say Mahavishnu Avatar, then Sadashiva comes. Says it so nicely. Yes, then Sadashiva comes. This is Advaita Acharya. This is Advaita Tattva. So Tattva means truth. There's Krishna Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and here we have Advaita Tattva. We also have Radha Tattva. And when one understands all these tattvas and one is a self-realized, a devotee who has knowledge of all the various things that are in the Shastra, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. One understands these things both philosophically, intellectually, but also with the heart of a devotee. Srila Prabhupada one time said that a devotee has to have the courage of an Englishman and the heart of a Bengali mother, which appear to be two contradictory qualities. But one has to have the courage. When the British came to India, they were fearless. Fearless military campaigners. They weren't afraid of anything or anybody. So the courage of an Englishman and the heart of a Bengali mother. Like when Srila Prabhupada was a child and he had some illness, his mother would supplicate the gods by offering blood from her breast for the protection of her child. So that's the heart of a Bengali mother. That's a kind of a depth of love and emotion. So a devotee ideally is possessed of both of these characteristics: the courage of an Englishman and the heart of a Bengali mother. Of course, there's another saying about the Englishman in India, that only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the noonday sun. I believe that's from Kipling. So, Advaita Acharya, his father's name was Kuvera Mishra, and his mother's name was Srimati Navadevi. They were first living in Srihata, which is a district in Bengal. And Kuvera Pandit, he had no son for a very long period. And then in his old age, finally, he got this son, Advaita Acharya. And there in Srihata is a village called Navagram, and that's where Advaita Acharya appeared. And he appeared on this lunar day, which is called Magha Saptami, the seventh day of the bright fortnight. Magla Shukla Saptami. Shukla means bright. Magha is the month of Magh, and Saptami, the seventh day of the moon. So from this we can understand that in 4 days it will be Ekadasi. That's Saptami, and then you have 8, 9, 10, 11, Ekadashi. Eka means 1, Dasa means 10. 11th day of the moon. So right now we're on the 7th day of the moon. So after his son was born, then Kuvera Pandit decided he wanted to go live on the bank of the Ganga. So he shifted his residence from Navagram to Shantipur on the bank of the Ganges. And the Shantipur is now famous as the place of Advaita Acharya because he had a residence there. And one of his names is Shantipuranath, the Lord of Shantipur. Apparently, I didn't know this, he also had a house in Mayapur. So he had 2 residences. One in Shantipur, which is 20 miles approximately. You bet you went there?
Never got to go.
And then right also there nearby in Navadvip. So he had the association of Lord Chaitanya. And so in his Namkarna, the name-giving ceremony after his birth, he got 2 names, Mangala and Kamalaksha. So, but he became known as Advaita Acharya. And his mother and father, of course, were quite a bit older than him. His father was older when he took his birth, or when he appeared. And they disappeared when he was young, and he went on pilgrimage. He was feeling separation and distress, and he visited many holy places. Then when he returned from that pilgrimage, his relatives requested him that, okay, now you have to get married. Just like our Jagannath Prabhu. He was a pujari in the Phoenix Temple. And then his relatives and family told him, he told me this personally, said that you have to get married. He said, all right, then I'll get married. He wasn't even desiring, he wasn't looking, but they told him, you must get married. Yes, pressure from the family. Okay, all right, I'll get married. And at that time, there was in Shantipur a very pious Brahmana named Nasringha Baduri. And he had 2 beautiful daughters, Sri Devi and Sita Devi. So Advaita Acharya married both of them. That was the system. Still you find that sometimes in India. the system is that a man can take more than one wife. And I had a friend of mine who's studied astrology in South India, and he was in the home of one Pandit, and they were sitting discussing. He had studied astrology with this Pandit, and then the wife comes in from one door and then goes out, and then a couple of minutes later the wife comes in again from another door on the other side. He was like, how did she do that? Turned out the man had married twin sisters, identical twins. That was the explanation. Oh, it wasn't mystic powers. Okay, they were twins. So, and we don't hear much about Sri Devi, but Sita Thakurani is very famous. She is mentioned there quite extensively, or to some extent, in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And so therefore, Advaita Acharya sometimes called Sitanath, or Sitapati, as he's called in one of the songs of Narottam, because his wife is Sita Thakurani. And Sita Thakurani is an incarnation of Yogamaya. And her sister Sri Devi is also known as a manifestation of Yogamaya. So as Advaita Acharya, he actually became a leader of the Vaishnava community and of the Brahminical community there in Shantipur. And he was a man of substantial means, of opulent, prominent Brahmana. But he saw how people in Kali Yuga were suffering because of lack of Krishna consciousness, lack of devotion. And Navadvip originally had been a center of devotion, but had somehow become transformed into a center of dry academic learning without devotion. And Advaita Acharya saw that people were living without devotion, and he could not tolerate that. He could not tolerate their suffering. So he thought, I must make Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appear, because only Krishna has the potency to give people himself, Krishna consciousness. And so the question is posed, well, who can make the Lord appear? Can you call on Krishna? Krishna, please appear. Krishna, please appear before me in the deity form. Oh, there he is. But Advaita Acharya, he could, because he's Bhaktya Avatar. He's the incarnation of the devotee. As it is stated in the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 3, verse 112, Bhaktera Ichchaya Krishnera Sarva Avatar. And also in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 59, Bhaktechcho Pata Rupaya. By the desire of his dear devotee, the Lord appears. The Lord is not the order carrier of the jivas, but he makes himself subservient to his devotee. We have ample evidence of this. Krishna became the chariot driver of Arjuna. You know, the chariot driver is not like a real exalted position, like the taxi driver. You know, in India, many wealthy men, they have a driver. When I was a boy, I got scholarship to go to this private school where most of the kids were super rich. And one of the kids became my friend. He would get dropped off in a Cadillac limousine by an African-American driver with wearing a suit and a little cap. So he's the driver. He's not like the manager of the house or the manager of the rich man's company, does his accounting, his books. He's just the driver. So Krishna became the chariot driver, the servant of his devotee, Arjuna, just to please him and to accelerate the pastimes of the Kurukshetra war, and also in order to present Bhagavad Gita from that position. But although he was chariot driver, Arjuna surrendered to him as spiritual master. Normally, the taxi driver is not the spiritual master. Normally, in these kinds of relationships. So, by the desire of his dear devotee, the Lord appears. And Krishna said to Durvasa Muni, Lord Vishnu said in the Bhagavatam that when Durvasa Muni was asking for relief from the Sudarshan Chakra that was chasing him because he had offended Maharaj Ambarish, and he was asking Lord Vishnu, he went all over the universe, and the Sudarshan Chakra was hot on his tail, feel it burning him, his hind side, and he was trying to get away. He couldn't escape, so he went to Vaikuntha because of his mystic power and beseeched the Lord to call off the Sudarshan Chakra. And Lord told him, well, I'm sorry, I can't stop the Sudarshan Chakra because I am dependent on my devotee. You have offended my devotee. So if you want relief from the reactions to this offense, namely the Sudarshan Chakra fixing to chop you to bits, then you have to go to my devotee whom you offended and ask his forgiveness, which Durvasa Muni did. So Krishna says that. Aham bhakta paradino. I'm dependent on my devotee. I have no independence of my own. Although he's the independent supreme personality of Godhead, he says that he has no independence. And Bhagavatam is explained in the first canto, second chapter, that the Lord, no, first chapter Bhagavatam. The Lord is abhigya swarat. He is independent and not dependent on anyone, and he is all-knowing. Abhigya. Gya means knowledge. Jnana, the prefix of that word, the root, the Sanskrit root of that word, is gya. So abhigya, he knows everything. And swarat, he's independent of anyone and everyone. Therefore, Brahma Samhita states, sarvakaranam karanam. Everything has a cause. Everything and everyone has a cause. But God has no cause. He's the cause of everything else. But he is independent. And he causes everything. Sarvakaranam karanam. So he's the cause of all causes. And then Maharaj quotes this verse from the Bhagavatam, 9th canto, chapter 4. Aham bhakta paradhino yashava tantra iva dvija sadubir grishta hridayo bhaktar bhakta jana priyaha. I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the core of their hearts. But to speak of my devotee, even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. So he's bhakta paradino, he's dependent on the devotee. So it is the call of the devotee, Advaita Acharya, that brought, Maharaj says, Goloka Bihari, the enjoyer and lord of Goloka Vrindavan. Purna Brahma Krishna. Purna Brahma means completely spiritual Krishna. He will not come for ordinary reasons, but when his devotee calls him. Then he quotes Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhyutanam madharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chajuskritam dharma samstampanartaya sambhavami juge juge. When there is a prominent rise of adharma, then Krishna comes to reestablish the principles of religions. And then he kills the demons and protects the devotees and establishes Bhagavat Dharma. For that purpose, he descends. So, just like when the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, we see in the 10th canto, they went to the bank of the Kshirak Sagara, the milk ocean, and they offered prayers to Krishna. Oh, dear Krishna, the universe is all messed up, and there are so many demons. So you please come and set things aright. So Krishna came in response to the prayers of Lord Brahma and the demigods on the shore of the milk ocean. Similarly, by the prayers of Advaita Acharya, and listen to this language he uses, Prema Purushottama Gauranga Mahaprabhu appeared in this world and manifested his Leela. Prema Purushottama. Purushottama means the supreme person. Purusha means person. Uttama means above, beyond. He's the person who's beyond all other persons. The supreme person. Prema, who's filled with love. Gauranga, the golden form, the person possessing the Anga, Gora. Anga means limbs. He has golden limbs. Mahaprabhu, the boss of all the bosses. The great Prabhu, Mahaprabhu. So Advaita Acharya thought, I must make the Supreme Lord Krishna appear here. Then he quotes from the Adi Leela again, chapter 6. Advaita Acharya Gosani Sakshad Ishwara Yahan Mahima Nehejiyavera Gochara. Sri Advaita Acharya is indeed directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His glory is beyond the conception of ordinary living beings. Advaita Acharya Koti Brahmanda Karta Ara Eka Eka Murche Brahmandera Bharta. Sri Advaita Acharya is the creator of millions and millions of universes, and by his expansions as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he maintains each and every universe. So he's not an ordinary living entity. He manifests all the universes, then he expands himself into each one. And again, referring to the verses we quoted earlier from the Adi Leela, chapter 1. Advaita Acharya, because he is non-different from Hari, he is called Advaita. And because he propagates the cult of devotion, he's called Acharya. Advaita Acharya Gosani Sakshad Ishwara. So he's the incarnation of Mahavishnu, and he could feel the pains of the jivas, because the jivas come from Mahavishnu. They expand, the jivas expand from Mahavishnu. And therefore he could feel the suffering and the pains of all the jivas. Isn't that amazing? Because they're coming from him. And he observed that this Kali Yuga is devoid of bhakti. I must make Krishna appear to propagate bhakti. And then in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, he says, Karimai Krishna Sarvanayana Gochara, Tabe se Advaita Nama Krishnera Kinkara. I will make Krishna appear before the eyes of all. Sarvanayana. Nayana means eyes. Sarva means all. Before everyone's eyes. Then this person, Advaita, will be known as the servant of Krishna, Krishnera Kinkara. I must make Krishna appear here and show Krishna to everyone. If I do not, then how is it that I will be Advaita Acharya? I will not deserve that name. Then I will give up this name if I cannot make them appear. So therefore, he decided to make Krishna appear by worshipping Shalagram Shila and offering Ganga water and Tulsi leaf. And there is a verse that confirms that. And he knew this verse. It's from the Gautamiya Tantra, and it's quoted in the Adi Leela, chapter 3. Tulsi dalamatrena jalasya chulukena va. Vikrinite swam atmanam bhaktibhyo bhakta vatsalaha. Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate toward his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who merely offers him a tulsi leaf and a palmful of water. And that is the method of worship of Shalagram Shila. And Krishna sells himself to such a devotee. So Advaita Acharya, this was his tactic. Well, I'm a devotee of Krishna. I'm worshiping him with the Ganga Jal and the tulsi leaf. And therefore, he has to appear. This will be the method that will get him. And then Advaita Acharya said, this is also from chapter 3 of the Adi Lila, Eshlokarta Acharya Karena Vicharana, Krishna ke tosi jara deha ye jana. Harara sodite Krishna Karena Chintana, Jala Tulsira Shamikichu Gari Nahidana. Advaita Acharya considered the meaning of the verse in this way. Not finding any way to repay the debt he owes to one who offers him a tulsi leaf and water, Lord Krishna thinks, there is no wealth in my possession that is equal to a tulsi leaf and water. Tabe atma vecha kari mera shodhana eta bhavyacharya karena aradhana. Thus the Lord liquidates the debt by offering himself to the devotee. Considering in this way, the Acharya began worshiping the Lord. Again from Adi Lila chapter 3. Every day he was worshiping the Lord in the form of the Shalagram Shila with the tulsi leaf and the Ganga Jal. And he was crying and crying and crying and uttering the name Krishna, 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 and calling in a roaring voice, please come down, please come down. And one of Advaita Acharya's names is Nada. Lord Chaitanya used to call him Nada. He said, Nada, you disturbed me. I was sleeping peacefully in the spiritual sky, and you shook my seat with your loud calling. And he called him Nadayar Hunkara. Hunkara means roaring voice. There's actually a devotee named Hunkara. Did you meet Hunkara in Vrindavan? The Prabhupada disciple from Central America. Hunkara, the loud, roaring voice. So, you woke me up from my sleep in the spiritual world, and you're shaking my asan with your loud roaring, with your sound vibration. Therefore, I had to get up and come down to see, what did you want? Why are you calling me? Why are you disturbing me like this? So I had to come down. He made me come down. But Krishna also had a desire to come down again to teach bhakti. So Advaita Acharya was calling him every day with a roaring voice and worshiping the Shalagram Shila. His call penetrated the 7 layers of this mature universe, entered into the spiritual sky, and went to Goloka Vrindavan. Upon hearing this, Yoga Maya thought, Advaita Acharya is calling. Now I must make Krishna appear as Gaura. Therefore, Prema Purushottama Gauranga Mahaprabhu appeared. This is one of the reasons of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. So Advaita Acharya gets the credit. So when Lord Chaitanya appeared on Gaur Purnim, that fateful day in 1486, he appeared along with his Dhamma and his associates. And when he appeared in Nadia as the son of Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata, Advaita Acharya was staying at Shantipur, and he could understand, yes, Mahaprabhu has appeared. He first sent his wife Sita Thakurani to Navadvip, Mayapur, to Jagannath Mishra's house. After that, he came himself and saw the child. And in the Adi Leela 13, it is mentioned, Bhaknya bhojo para shangi laila bahubar, sachi grihe haire upanita, dekhiya bhalakatham, shakshat goloka kana, varna matra dekhi mabirita. When Sita Thakurani came to the house of Sachi Devi, bringing with her many kinds of eatables, dresses, and other gifts, she came because the child was born. So when the child is born, the other ladies come to the maternal house to see the child and give gifts to the family. And that is the culture. Very nice culture. She was astonished to see the newborn child. For remember, she's Yogamaya. She's just not some Bengali housewife. She appreciated that except for the difference in color, the child was directly Krishna of Gokula himself. Sakshat Gokula Kana. So Lord Chaitanya is Sakshat Gokula Krishna. Directly from Gokula, he's Krishna, except for a difference in his complexion. Instead of blackish, he is Gora, he's golden. So when Advaita Acharya saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as baby Gauranga, he was very happy because he knew also this is Krishna. And he said, aha, yes, my desire is fulfilled. I made Krishna appear. Mission accomplished. So he'd been meditating upon Krishna, and he was daily offering the puja to Shalagram with Ganga Jal and Tulsi Patra. Yes, Krishna has appeared. And he also saw all the demigods were offering prayers to the Lord. And then Advaita Acharya became very ecstatic, blissful. And he said, this is quoted from the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Aji se pala mora dhina paraksha, aji se sapala hailit, yata abilan, aji mora janma karma shakala sapal, sakshate dekilan tora charana yuga, goni matra chari bede, yari nahi deke, hena tumi mora lagi haila parateke. Today, my life has become successful because I saw my beloved Lord. Today, all my desires are fulfilled. Ajimoda Janma Karma, Shakala Sapala. Today, my birth and my activities are all crowned with success. Saksha Dekilan Tora Charana Yugala. I have directly seen your lotus feet, O my beloved Lord. In the four Vedas, his glories are described, but no one sees him. Today I have seen him. He has appeared. Oh, my dear Lord, he has appeared for me. So, as described in Chaitanya Bhagavat, the infant Mahaprabhu said to Advaita Acharya, "O Acharya, offer your worship to me." He first washed the lotus feet of the Lord with fragrant water and then smeared them with sandalwood paste. He dipped tulsi manjars in the sandalwood paste and placed them and the ingredients of arghya on the Lord's lotus feet. He worshipped the Lord with 5 ingredients like sandalwood paste, flowers, incense, and ghee. As he worshipped the Lord, tears of love flowed from his eyes. We saw a pujari on the altar offering the worship to the Lord, and tears were flowing from their eyes. Are you okay, Prabhu? Did the incense smoke get in your eyes? And he offered a ghee lamp with 5 wicks, and again offered prayers, and loudly chanted, Jai, Jai. And while shedding tears of love, prema ashru, ashru means tears, prema means spiritual love. In this way, he worshipped baby Gaurahari. And at last he offered prayers to Mahaprabhu, which are mentioned in Chaitanya Bhagavat. I won't quote all the Bengali, but just to give you a taste. Jaya Jaya Sarva Prananatha Vishwambara Jaya Jaya Gauda Chandra Karuna Sagara, ocean of mercy. All glories to Krishna. All glories to Vishwambar, who is the life and soul of all jivas. Prananath. Karuna Sagara. All glories to Gaurachandra, who is the ocean of mercy. All glories to he who makes the words of his devotees come true. And then Maharaj tells us, that is Krishna's thought. When my devotee has promised to make me appear, I must appear. Now listen to this. If I won't appear, then the words of my devotees will be false. And if the words of my devotees are false, then no one will be my devotee. Can't have that now. So he fulfills the words of his devotees and make them true. Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu Mahaavatari. You are the source of all avatars. He is as beautiful as Lakshmi Devi, Sindhu Sutta. Lakshmi Devi, very beautiful. On his chest is the Srivatsa Kastuba, the mark of Srivatsa and the Kastuba gem. Jaya Jaya Hare Krishna Mantera Prakash, who spoke the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That Mahaprabhu, let him be glorified, who came to teach his own bhakti yoga, Jaya Jaya Nija Bhakti Grahana Vilas. He came to teach his own bhakti yoga. There's that verse by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. How does it go? I can't remember the first line. Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharshamika Purusha Parana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dari Kripam Buddhir Yastamaham Prapadye. Sarvabhauma is offering his obeisances to Lord Chaitanya, who has come to teach his own Nija Bhakti Yoga, his own devotional service. So everyone had forgotten how to worship Krishna. So Krishna said, all right, I'll come and I'll teach you myself how you can worship me. Isn't that amazing? Krishna comes to teach his own worship to the devotees, to make them devotees. He who lies on the bed of Anantanaga, that is Mahaprabhu. At his lotus feet, Sarva Jivera Sharana, all jivas take shelter. So these are these series of verses from the Madhya Kanda of Chaitanya Bhagavat. It's called the Jaya Gana. Gana means song, and Jaya means glories or glorification. So it's the songs of glorification that Advaita Acharya offered these prayers. So in this way, he was offering worship and prayers to the baby Gora, who was miraculously talking back to him. The babies, normal babies don't do that. Much talking was going on between Advaita Acharya and Gaurasundar. When the baby was talking, no one would say anything. Gaurasundar laughed and said, "Oh, Acharya, I am very much pleased with your prayers. You may ask for a boon." And Advaita Acharya asked for this boon. Again, this is from Chaitanya Bhagavat, from the Madhya Kanda. Advaita Acharya said, all right, please grant me this boon. You should give bhakti to one and all, to women, to Shudras, to those who are most ignorant fools, and to those who are most degraded. So who are those ignorant fools and most degraded persons? Yes, everyone, the Kali Yuga residents. Give me this boon, he said. Let it be granted. And so Mahaprabhu said, yes, I grant your desire. And then the very intimate devotees could understand that this boon was given, and they began to dance and say, Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. So to those who are dina, hina, papi, panadi, fallen, fools, sinful, degraded, he offered that prema. It's not an easy thing, Brahmara Durlabha, prema. And even difficult for Lord Brahma to get that prema. But Mahaprabhu offered that prema, which is such a rare attainment, indiscriminately to all patitas, fallen, amaras, most degraded souls, papis, sinful men, anadis, atheists, dina, distressed, and hina, inferior. Thus, it is by the calling of Shantipura Nath, Shantipura Pati Advaita Acharya, that Mahaprabhu appeared. And then there's a prayer quoted. O Advaita Acharya Prabhu, please shower your mercy on us most degraded jivas. If you shower your mercy on us, then we can get Gora and Nitai. So on this day, we must offer our prayers at the lotus feet of Karunamaya, the most merciful Lord of Shantipur, Sri Advaita Acharya. All right, we'll stop here. And there are many other pastimes of Advaita Acharya, which we didn't cover here, but I found this composition by Gauragovinda Maharaj very inspiring and full of wonderful information about Sri Advaita Acharya. So questions, comments? Lavanga.
You had mentioned earlier in your lecture talking about how Advaita Acharya is a combination of Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. So I was wondering if you could explain what's the difference between Sadashiva and Shiva?
That shall remain for another time. Little research is required,
Okay.
which I have not done.
There's a lecture by Bhakti Kashtami on that. Really good.
You can Google that,
I like that.
and it'll come up, the lecture by Bhakti Vikas.
He describes it.
So, yes, technical questions, fielding technical questions is not my expertise. Bluffing is more my style. Kirtaneshwar.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was fantastic, as usual. I feel nice, and it was really just beautiful. Advaita Acharya Katha. 2 points. One is, you mentioned how it was inspiring how, Lord Chaitanya said, I have to fulfill the words of my devotees. And, it's so, inspiring to think that Srila Prabhupada said that we can chant 16 rounds and follow four regular principles so easily. And if we do that, then we'll go back to Godhead. So the Lord Chaitanya is fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's desire. And so that's really amazing that we're getting that opportunity by Srila Prabhupada's grace to, go back to Godhead by following these simple instructions. And also, it's described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita how Advaita Acharya used to roar. And roar the name of Hari. I never really understood that until going to Mayapur and being around Jayapataka Swami, who actually literally roars the name of Hari. So.
Yes, he has the Advaita Baba. He can do the hunkara, that big noise. Yes, it's actually, if you consider all these points about the mercy of the Lord and giving Krishna consciousness, Krishna prema to all the fallen souls in Kali Yuga, then we can understand, if we meditate on this deeply, that it is unfathomable. The Krishna consciousness movement is unfathomable because it is directly the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu upon the residents of the Kali Yuga, the unqualified jiva souls. And such a thing it's almost inconceivable. And it is so wonderful. It is so incredible. And then we have come in contact with this movement and are adopting the principles of Krishna consciousness and making it the driving factor of our lives. It is unbelievable. Who could understand this inconceivable mercy that is being bestowed upon us? And so we are very, very fortunate. And therefore, the mandate has been given by Srila Prabhupada that you become Krishna conscious and that you distribute it to others and increase Krishna consciousness in the world. And that is the sum and substance of the Krishna consciousness movement. And it's so incredibly wonderful. We're so incredibly fortunate. Even Lord Brahma doesn't get this kind of good fortune. And he's a very fortunate, pious person. It is inconceivable that just the fallen residents of Kali Yuga can take to Krishna consciousness and go back to Godhead and develop love of Krishna. Wow. That's just beyond fabulous. It's beyond magical. It's beyond cool. It's just the most wonderful thing possible for the living entity. So therefore, we are all extremely fortunate. And Srila Prabhupada said, I created your good fortune. He's created our good fortune by giving us Krishna consciousness indiscriminately. Yes.
So, I hear Lord Chaitanya doesn't come in every Kali Yuga.
No.
So it's
Once in a day of Brahma.
very rare.
Just like Krishna doesn't come in every Dwapara Yuga. But once in a day of Brahma, that's a long time. So, it's the right time, it's the right place. Just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Take advantage.
After billions of years of wandering up and down, Brahmanda Brahmiti. Kona Bhagyavan Jiva. Bhagyavan means very fortunate, living entity. Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij comes in contact with Guru and Krishna and gets the Bhakti Lata Bija, the seed of the creeper of devotional service. And that's what's happening to us and happening all over the world right now. Like, yeah, great stuff. Better like the merchants in Vrindavan will say, better quality you cannot get. So better good fortune you cannot get. This is it. This is the ultimate. And then I think it's another Tom that prays, but I am so unfortunate. Or Chaitanya says that. Nanuraga. I am so unfortunate that the holy names you've given yourself in the form of your holy names. He says, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for chanting the holy names. And Narottam Das says the same thing, that I'm so unfortunate that I'm thinking about other things, desiring other things. All right, 9 o'clock. Stop here. And then Prasadam will be 11:30 in the back. Everyone knows the spot. And it's a nice sunny day, so we can take Prasad outside. We're not crowded.